When you hear the name Carroll Shelby, you probably think of fire-breathing V8 Mustangs or the legendary Shelby Cobra. But what if I told you that in the 1980s, Shelby took on a new challenge, building a turbocharged front-wheel drive hatchback to take on European sports cars? Sounds crazy, right? Well, meet the Dodge Shelby Charger, an unlikely warrior in the battle against hot hatches and sports coupes of the era. During the 80s, the muscle car era was fading, and small, nimble cars were taking over. Shelby, always one to push the limits of performance, saw potential in Dodge's compact Charger. But could he really turn a front-wheel drive, four-cylinder hatchback into a worthy? The context: why Shelby partnered with Dodge. Late 1970s and early 1980s were a rough time for American performance cars. Gas prices were high, emissions regulations were stricter than ever, and muscle cars were getting slower. But Dodge had a plan to fight back, and they called in a legend to help: Carroll Shelby. Shelby had already worked his magic on Mustangs, but in the early 80s, he teamed up with Dodge to develop high-performance versions of their front-wheel drive economy cars. It was the Dodge Charger gets a makeover. The Dodge Charger of the early 1980s wasn't exactly a muscle car. Unlike its V8-powered ancestors from the 60s and 70s, this version was a lightweight, four-cylinder hatchback based on the Dodge Omni platform. It wasn't fast, and it definitely wasn't a threat to European hot hatches, until Shelby got involved. In 1983, Shelby introduced the first Dodge Shelby Charger. It featured aggressive new styling, including a unique front air dam, side skirts, and racing stripes, a signature Shelby touch. But this wasn't just about looks. Under the hood, Shelby made some serious improvements. Performance upgrades. The first Shelby Charger came with a 2.2-liter inline-4, producing 107 horsepower, not earth-shattering, but a noticeable improvement over the base Charger. Shelby retuned the suspension with stiffer springs and better shocks, improving handling and making the car a blast to drive. In 1985, Shelby took things up a notch. The Charger now had a turbocharged version of the 2.2-liter engine, cranking out 146 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound like much today, but in a lightweight car, it made for some serious fun. With this setup, the Shelby Charger could sprint from 0 to 60 in about 7.5 seconds, putting it in the same league as some of the hottest European hatches of the time. Not bad for a front-wheel drive Dodge. How it stacked up against the competition. So how did the Shelby Charger compare to its rivals? Against the Volkswagen GTI, it had more power and sharper handling. Against the Honda CRX, it offered more torque and better highway performance. And while it couldn't match the brute force of V8 Mustangs, it was a much more refined corner carver. The Shelby Charger even made its mark in racing, competing in SCCA showroom stock events and proving that a front-wheel drive Dodge could actually be a legitimate performance car. Shelby's final touch: the GLHS. But Shelby wasn't done yet. In 1986, he took the Shelby Charger to the next level with the GLHS, which stood for Goes Like Hell S. You can guess what the S stood for. The GLHS packed an upgraded turbo 2.2-liter engine with 175 horsepower, making it one of the fastest American compact cars of its time. The GLHS could run the quarter mile in the mid-14s and hit a top speed of over 130 miles per hour. Numbers that put it in the same conversation as the Mustang SVO and even some entry-level European sports cars. Why it's an unlikely classic. Today, the Dodge Shelby Charger is often overlooked in the world of classic performance cars. It didn't have a V8, it wasn't rear-wheel drive, and it didn't fit the traditional Shelby mold. But for those in the know, it's a hidden gem. With its turbocharged power, sharp handling, and Shelby pedigree, the Shelby Charger was proof that performance didn't have to mean big displacement and rear-wheel drive. It was a true underdog, an American hot hatch with a racing legend stamp of approval. So what do you think? Was the Dodge Shelby Charger an underrated performance car? Or was it just another quirky 80s experiment? Let us know in the comments. And if you love classic performance cars, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more awesome automotive content.